Hello and welcome back to the GG.Bet New York Invitational. We've just seen forZe dispatched with AVANGAR 16-9 on their map pick of Inferno. AVANGAR's map pick is gone, and we find ourselves on Mirage in the second map.
Yeah, just to add injury or salt to the potential wounds that AVANGAR are going to be facing in this one. This Mirage has been a map that forZe have gone to a fair bit of time, and in the 3 Invitationals we've seen them in so far, undefeated. And that is including a win versus Wendigo, and a win versus Hellraisers, and more importantly, a stomping of Team Liquid.
Yeah, that is definitely not the worst sort of recent results, I have to say. You know, you're taking a look at the recent results, things are not looking good for AVANGAR, especially after losing so badly on their map pick.
Yeah, and it's kind of disheartening to see the way they go out as well. I mean, they lose a full buy round to time itself, and it's a position where they've had map control for a significant amount of time. They had everything, you know, at least in place to set up for an execute or actually attack somewhere together. For that to just fall apart because you forget the bomb.
You forget the bomb.
It's a bit rough to watch, but I guess, you know, they're not slouches on Mirage themselves. Again, they've also had wins versus Hellraisers, for example, on Mirage as well. So there is some hope. They're not completely lost. Again, I did think we see some of the profiles on the side of AVANGAR not necessarily having the greatest of games on Inferno, and that could swing around.
Well, a big part of the success early for forZe on Inferno was the pistol run win. They got that under their belt. See if they can do it again here as they go in towards the Palace. It is going to be Jerry with the initial pickup. The man advantage is there as FaceCrack will follow up as well. And that's the CT side with a 2-man advantage. Although Jerry spotted by Jay. Still a chance here for AVANGAR.
A little bit aggressive from Jerry right there. Z-Bar's going to be a little bit more laid back, and that's going to net him a kill as well. Does damage onto James as well. A lot of it, too. It's going to make it easy pickings for Flit to finish the job. Kicker left alone, desperately trying to find a frag, and does so. Still on 42 HP, so has a chance within him. Still split up defense on the set of 4s. It's got, I think it's Almazar coming in from the behind here. Yeah, well, just waiting for him in an angle. Still not going to win it out. The P250 doing a lot of work here. FaceCrack did have an opportunity earlier on to actually get a bit of a trade when he was fighting Flit. Now, all down to his lonesome.
Well, Kicker has just run away. He doesn't want anything to do with the A-bomb site. He's gone back over towards apartments, but hot on his heels is FaceCrack. Still hasn't really taken the finger off the shift key just yet, so that's giving Kicker time to get into position over towards B. He'll have plenty of time to secure the bomb plant and actually get himself a pretty good post-plant position.
The question is whether or not he's going to be expecting the wraparound from B-Apps as well. He's tucked himself into a pretty good spot, though, so now he's not going to be visible immediately for FaceCrack. And FaceCrack doesn't have a defuse kit either. So he needs to pick up the pace. You can see the crowd's position. We'll see how wide FaceCrack actually goes. Not wide enough. In the end, it doesn't even matter. FaceCrack being able to salvage that after all. So forZe start off in the same fashion they did on Inferno as well, picking up the first half pistol. You guys do keep in mind they did end up following this up with a loss versus the forced buy of AVANGAR, so we'll see if that comes true once more. There's a lot of money on Kicker as well.
Odds from GG.Bet, certainly favoring the forward side.
Right from the get-go as well,
straight from the beginning.
And Kicker's going to buy an SG, yeah. So, actually, I was about to say, I was expecting more of a force into this from AVANGAR. But pretty much the rest of the team is staying true, not buying up too much. It's going to be 2 rounds in a row where AVANGAR get the chance to buy here regardless of how this round pans out. Really passive. Probably don't want to give away the fact that they do have an SG in their hands as well. Kicker currently moving in towards top mid. First duel goes the way of Kicker. That's one of the positions, or one of the, I guess, moves that we've seen out of AVANGAR multiple times that they're really good at, especially Buster. So good at swinging for catwalk from top mid. Oh, Z-Power, are you going to turn and find Sanji? You've thought about it. You've been rewarded as well. That might be a clear indication of a rotation coming in as well, as Sanji was kind of backing out.
Well, let's FaZe take it away. Jame follow-up coming in as well. There's 3 for FaZe, make it 4. What a hold that is from him. All the players running towards him, and he crushes them. 2-0 forZe, they find themselves that pickup, and we'll move into the next one with a pretty convincing start. You know, this was a weakness for them earlier on Inferno, right? Was they get the pistol win, but they can't find the follow-up. Well, I mean, there wasn't even really a contest out.
It really wasn't. It was looking promising, I suppose, for AVANGAR with the first pick onto Flit on Catwalk, but didn't last for too long. But as we said, enough money to actually have a rebuy here on the side of AVANGAR. But again, it's a passive start. No immediate attempt for mid control. Just gonna wait it out and see the initial nades. Z-Power, it's gonna be curious to see how interested he is in actually just hanging out towards underpass before he gets a move on. He has a UMP, so peeking up into mid is not the ideal way of going about it. That's probably why he's staying close as well. That's a bit of a curious Molotov. I think that's actually to bait AVANGAR from thinking there's anyone in underpass, and well, if that was the case, it worked. Oh, and actually finds Kickert as well.
Well, there's the kill from Flit. Up on top, spots Jame, and again, this is not looking good for AVANGAR whatsoever. Not even competitive, but Buster will try and change that. He's got the first kill, but Jerry will drop him back, and well, Ladran, he's nowhere to be seen at this point. 1v4, coming back into the ramp, he's spotted as well, and it's 3-0. forZe finding themselves 3 easy rounds, I have to say. Not really much of a contest there from AVANGAR.
Pretty dominant. Z-Power doing so much of the groundwork as well. First round, or first force buy they went up against, if you want to call it that, finds a retreating SoundG that gives them enough time and plenty of information to rotate over towards A, even though that wasn't needed in the end with FaZe getting a triple kill. But here as well, finding the double kill up in B apps, doing a whole lot of work. And if the move from forZe is intentional with the Molotov down in towards underpass to kind of have AVANGAR believe that there's not going to be anyone down there because they Molotoved it, it's really, really smart.
One's starting to come on in. It's FaZe with the pickup. The second coming in as well, alongside the third. As FaZe again just finding multi-kills after multi-kills. Kicker will take one on the Deagle. The bomb plant actually coming through as well. So that's actually a bit of a bonus here for AVANGAR. They'll be happy enough with that. Yeah. FaZe and, well, Flit, they finish off the job 4-0.
If anyone were to find a kill in that round, it's definitely the Kicker that you wanted it to be on. As I said, bonus money in the bank for AVANGAR. That's going to allow for June to get an op and actually some armor as well. It's not going to be the glass cannon or anything to that effect. Not that though. Strong start from forZe already. We need to see AVANGAR actually being able to put some rounds on the board here before, I guess, hope starts to fade. If Inferno wasn't enough of an indicator of how strong forZe are at the current stage, I feel like this would definitely be a good sign of it. Aggressive setup. It's going to work out swimmingly. Nice bait initially for the defending player. FaZe gets away as well. Even though there is a return, they still have to hold back and wait it out for the time being. forZe are just playing really, really well. It's fun to see. Again, the bait and switch setup works out so nicely. It lands Jerry 2 kills, even though he gets or goes for a third and doesn't find it. Does significant damage onto Buster. And also, this is in the midst of an actual A-take from AVANGAR, so you use so much of your utility, you don't get anything out of it. And now you have to reset the entire situation, but you've lost all sort of reliable information as to where players were. Jame a little bit late to respond, but it's not punished for it as FaZe peeks into apps.
40 seconds to play with. Z-Part going aggressive towards Palace and might just come back to bite him. And there it is. The patience pays off for Sanji. There's the front coming in, just stands there, waits for Z-Part to come towards him. And he'll pick that up easily enough. And so Amiz will sit inside of the A-bomb site. 25 seconds left to make a play.
Oh, is Buster going to go through?
Vanguard going to start to push on in. They got the timing. Buster goes over the top of the stairs, but not looking towards the ninja position. It's Jim that finds that. And well, Flit, 1v3, spots Jim, but they know exactly where he is now. As the Titan comes in, he'll run under the spot. 10 seconds. Molotov, that should be enough to scare them off and force them into the open, but the bomb plant has come through. As Sanji hides away, low HP, Buster will take the frag, and that could have been horrible if that Molotov had got off slightly earlier.
Yeah. A little bit sooner. The nade follow-up as well would have been brilliant. Just not enough. Vanguard fighting back from a really, really rough start. I guess forZe didn't really do themselves any favors by the aggressive moves up. They were in a 4v3, face crack pushing forward. Not necessarily needed. I think the second one from Z-Power is more justified simply off the back that at that stage, they've gone completely quiet, you're down in an even number situation. It's an information play. Face crack doesn't really get too much out of it. Z-Power though still going to have it up, and he's going to ring true onto a Dren. Now with the 3-man hold here, it's a really, really tough task for AVANGAR to fight back in this one as well. James going to start it off. Did he see Jerry moving up on the ladder? I think he did.
He's running away.
Ooh, down to 6 HP.
Wow.
It's greeted by Buster.
Buster's actually been a really important player in these last rounds for Vanguard. Finds himself one more. He's in a decent position, but the nade comes in towards Jim. It has to be the Buster show. A 1v3 needs to happen as they start to swarm his position. Z-Power picks it up. And, you know, if the Vanguard find one, forZe will answer right back and stop any momentum from being built up.
Yeah. We'll see how heavily AVANGAR want to invest into this one. They could drop an AWP for James from Buster, or they might just drop an AK and go for a full rifle round. Seems to be the case as well. So they do get some utility on their end, enough to set up for executes at the very least. But we've seen forZe being at least aggressive and proactive enough to actually put the brakes on whatever AVANGAR wants to do. Z-Power done this plenty of times. Not going to connect the shot though. Quick movement from James here. Not going to peer through the smoke. Mid control has been gained on the side of the T's.
Z-Power up towards the window. He's looking for anybody coming towards him, but unfortunately for him, James all the way back up towards chair. He'll instead be looking for a fight towards the short position. Flash goes in. Jerry will take control of the ramp room, making sure that it's clear. As the smokes will trickle on in towards Palace. Buster just waiting for some aggression that he knows forZe love to throw at them. We've seen that even in positions when they don't really need to give away any aggression, they seem to still want to go for it.
The team identity, right? Can't really shake the CIS out of you.
Exactly. Live by it and die by it.
Jerry's going to get them the Molotov, but they know his position. Ooh. A little bit surprised, actually, that we didn't see Z-Power help him out there, but he was busy throwing a nade. Fish Crack wins out versus Buster, though, so sound balance restored, but Sanji's being able to make his way all the way up through connector unspotted.
This is not looking good for forZe at all.
Really bad Molotov, though.
Z-Power still does the job to force him away. He still could have got a kill, but the bomb plant has come in, and it's a Vanguard with a man advantage. They've got rifles, so it's looking pretty good for the chances, honestly, at picking this up. Super
late rotation as well from Almazer. So it's going to take time for the CTs to gather up here, and when that's become a reality, then James already going to be in a position actually where he could have swung all the way around through B-apps. That's what he wants to do, but again, with that kill from a Dren onto Flit, they're probably just going to get out of dodge, and James actually in a position here to cut off any sort of saving CTs if they decide to vacate back into the B-bomb site, but they're actually just going to hang out. Seeing what kind of damage they can do.
Yeah, that's super strange to lose that kind of round, you know. Sanji comes up through the connector, he's able to get into a good position.
Yeah.
No one even sees him coming.
It's a bit of a weird one, right? And when you see Jerry get basically caught with his hands in the cookie jar, trying to throw that deep Molotov, he gives enough time for Z-Power to actually react off of it, but Z-Power thinks he can actually get the Molotov down before we see any sort of reaction from AVANGAR, which I think, well, to me, it's a little bit naive. And if you're Z-Power, you're so good with that off that you're very likely to be able to deal with whatever is coming up from that T-pit. Because they're going to be trained on Jerry just getting him out of the corner, which gives you ample time to land an easy shot. But it costs AVANGAR, no, it costs forZe, and AVANGAR gets the second round. Definitely going to feel happy about that. Still, forZe very much in the driving seat, but money starting to run low. Flit on an MP9. No op. Well, op on Z-Power, but that's the saved one. There's no op reserves.
Well, Jim trying to force the issue up towards the window. I'll do a little bit of damage. But neither side able to find first blood just yet. It's run number 8, but there's the chance from Kicker. He will have to overextend towards the A-bomb side because of that. Almeida's just ready for it, but Buster gets the trade onto Jerry. Still a 4v4, 55 seconds to play with as Almeida will sit back towards the CT box. He'll look beyond up towards Palace. And with 45 seconds left, they've got to make it happen.
Oh, Sanji on the long rotate there, potentially for an after plan actually. Goes a little bit too far forward, gets found by Z-Power, holding from Kitchen. Now a lot of this is going to fall on Jame, I think, with his position inside of jungle here. We'll see if he can find Flit here. That's going to be a pretty good get. Opens up the avenue towards Catwalk as well. Problem is they have no smokes, so they can't smoke off Catwalk, or Connector, they can't smoke off Spawn. The Molotov is just going to have to do the job. Oh, Almanzar is burning.
Well, first crack peeks in towards the bomb site. He's looking for the follow-up, but it's Buster who's finds 3 kills and gives them an absolute chance. But Z-Power right through the wall, able to pick up the kill on the Adrent, and it's all onto Buster. Has to be the ace clutch as they come in from the same position. It's definitely doable at this point. He'll stand on default, the time ticks. And he could wrap this. He could turn this into a series of 1v1s if he plays it perfectly. Z-Power on the stairs, but Flick creeping in. There's the kill. And it will be forZe again answering back. It's been back and forth for the last 3 rounds. And finally, it might just look as though forZe might just be able to build this up as finally AVANGAR have been smashed around a little bit. Actually, they've got quite a bit of money. So
with the bomb plan and loss bonus. Because it's going back and forth, they don't get immediately reset. But yeah. They're losing rounds where they definitely have a shot of winning. And I think that's the biggest issue, right? Buster banking everything in that scenario on forZe actually making sound. You can see it looks like it is posted up really weirdly because he's just staring into a box, but that's simply just to get directional sound to work in his favor. If he hears any sort of footsteps, he knows what direction to focus on, what's closest to him. But AVANGAR or forZe being light on their toes as they move forward for that retake is the difference maker. Again, a setup coming in from AVANGAR. I'm just gonna go. I think Jerry's been spotted out on Firebox as well. He has.
Oh well, face crack on the edge of the smoke. He's able to pick up the kill. That's like the Sanji.
Classic spot where the Molotov usually lies for the T sides. Like Tyloo was one of the teams that started doing this because they kept getting punished with the old cookie cutter A side take.
Ooh, tries to make his way back in. It's going to be Kicker taking that one away.
Bomb
plant is still not in though.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. They see the bomb jump off the site, and Almanzar with the aggressive peek without even having a flash for him. Again, aggressive push getting punished. AVANGAR doing a really good job of actually expecting these kind of moves to come in though from forZe. That has to be said. Yeah,
they finally sort of adapted to it. You know, after being beat around a couple of times, they finally realized
we can just hang out.
Yeah, we can just chill here. They're gonna come to us.
So far, so true. And AVANGAR do, at least up to this point, damn good job of limiting their casualties as well. You can tell by the money on the side of the CTs, it's not ideal. And with the time,
oh my god.
Yeah,
he's his best.
He had the complete right idea, but the second he thinks he gets spotted from jungle, he has to commit to denying the bomb plant. I really like the idea though, because what Fishcrack wanted to do was obviously let the bomb do whatever it wants, find Jame that he heard scoping up on top of balcony, then go right back into the bomb planter. If there's nobody coming up from the Teep side player who's might have been Sanji, well, whoever it was on the side of AVANGAR, if they had gotten stuck in connector and just kind of held off whatever towards Cat, then that could have really quickly spiraled out of control.
But this back and forth again, when you have this sort of scrappy back and forth playstyle, it's never going to favor the economy of the CT side. Much more expensive on average to be a CT. So finally, we start to see a a lull in this back and forth. Maybe. I mean, it's
Yeah.
forZe.
Be careful what you wish for. Whereas, I guess, to your case, there's not a whole lot of weaponry on the side of forZe, but there's a Deagle.
There's a Zeus.
P250s. We've seen things happen. But very likely for AVANGAR to pick up a fourth here.
I want to see if this works. Oh. Unfortunately not.
A for effort, though.
Kicker, he will get himself a second as well. And a good start for AVANGAR coming into this one. They love to just walk away with this one under their belt. No real task.
This time Adrian's going to pop down the smoke. Not pop down the Molotov. Not going to have anyone walk through it.
He's even watching it just for
good measure, yeah. Jay misses the first onto Almazar, but this is very much around that it's going to be tough to lose for AVANGAR at this stage. I guess the bigger question is whether or not we see forZe actually buying into the next round. Flit face crack sitting under 2K. Again, they don't have the biggest loss bonus built up at this stage. And again, you do like to have ops on face crack. And Z-Power. Z-Power might be able to get an op with, like Kevlar or just Glass Cannon, but is that really what you want to go in for? Like, do you want to potentially risk your entire half off of that, or do we see a bit of a half buy before they go into a proper buy the round after? Let's see. As you can see, 3.8, 3.7, etc. It's not a whole lot to work with on the CT side.
The thing for these teams, right, is the fact that they love the T side of fair more than that of the CT side.
Yeah.
So getting as many rounds on the CT side as possible is definitely the go-to here for this side. And they've actually decided to go here forZe with a little bit of a mixture of SMGs, bit of Kevlar, save the money over for the next.
I'm a little bit disappointed by Flit deciding to invest as much as he did into this. He's got a Deagle and a UP with full armor. Puts him down to 1,600, and I mean, the loss bonus, sure, it's going to do some for you, but it's still so expensive to buy up fully with utility on the CT side, right? So even if you were to skimp on head kev the next round, then yeah, you're not going to be fully bought up. But I guess if you can sneak away with a kill here, it's all worth it. $600 to your bank. Slow approach from AVANGAR, though, and a bit of a stack from the side of forZe, and Z-Power's about to die. No, scratch that. Takes Sanji with him. Usually when you get tucked into a corner like that, it's impossible to actually do anything with it. They're set up for mid-aggression here, but there's no flash. They're just going to come screaming out, and Z-Power to get all the dinks, actually.
No way.
Jay.
No way. Oh, this is so awkward. Jim under pressure, Kicker, and Adrian having to make it happen. Face Crack has an AWP into a 1v2, and there's 45 seconds to play with. He's gone towards short, there's a player waiting. It's Dren, and he'll find the kill. So that's 3 in a row for AVANGAR. They're up to 6-5, but look at the damage that was done. At least they have money in the bank here, AVANGAR, but still pretty good good damage done, money picked up for forZe there on the SMGs.
Yeah, the only unfortunate thing really is that it wasn't Flit who got it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I guess Face Crack was the second player who was low on money before they went into that half buy, but he didn't spend as much as Flit did. Oh, no
Face
Kevlar
Crack
at all.
hasn't bought Kevlar, and he has money for it.
That's probably like one of the scenarios where your binds bug out in the buy menu kind of thing. Yeah. He's going to come to that realization just a little bit too late. Oh, well.
You just kind of hope that a grenade does not come towards him at all. It's always horrible to see that happen.
Yeah. Happens to the best of them as well.
It's worse when someone doesn't buy a kit and then it comes back to a defuse when
they have like 650 or something. So I'm not gonna buy a kit.
Z-Power up on top of the boost spot on Shorty spots the head, and how does he hit that?
So
that is
accurate.
Just so ridiculous. A small bit of Buster's head shows, and Z-Power picks it up. Man advantage there for forZe.
So big as well, considering how low in utility they are already. And again, one of the players not having Kevlar.
Well, Flit does just sit back, allows Adren to come to him, and James is waiting for the peeker on the corner, and well, he makes the right decision to sort of try and act fast against the ult, but Kicker comes in as well. Good stuff coming through from the T side as they find themselves the engagements they want, and Face Crack, well, the man with no Kevlar, might just have to save on to this weapon.
get Kevlar for next round. Oh man, that was looking so good for forZe. And then there's a string of frags going the way of AVANGAR. A little bit surprised actually that Z-Power doesn't connect the shot onto the player swinging around from one of the pillars. Feels like a shot that he's been hitting more often than not at this stage. I think that would have been a lot to really just stem everything that AVANGAR wanted to do. And here we are. AVANGAR bring it back from a rough beginning to the round. And they're going to get to equal numbers as well, 6-6. So they're making a solid meetup out of this. Definitely putting a whole lot more pressure on forZe.
Yeah, because at the start of this game, it was starting to look very much so that we're going to have a one-sided affair yet again come in from forZe, but out of nowhere, really, we've seen AVANGAR step up and really show that they can still compete. And well, that's an important factor for moving forward for them. They need to continue that level and stop forZe from being able to pick it up towards the end of this first half. forZe want to make sure that they get a couple more on the CT side, but again, both teams favouring the T side. Jim will be unable to pick that up, and the rest of the players on the CT side charging after him. It's Jerry with the MP9. Molotov is there. Smoke comes up as well. Look how much utility they force him to use just to get away safely towards T-spawn.
Well. Pressure being put back onto AVANGAR finally, even though there's not too much weaponry to speak of on the side of forZe. Now AVANGAR have taken a position a little bit of a back foot, but nobody on the side of forZe are actually going to come swinging for them. They've actually made a bit of a random call here, not based too much off of the information they've had. They've given up the A bomb site, and they don't have the utility to actually set up for proper retakes here, so this could get really dicey real fast. Yeah, congregated around mid, but that's not where AVANGAR find themselves. Oh, Jerry, did you spot someone out? Yeah, you did. Let's get away through the sound cues. Molotov comes out. Face cracker, are you going to swing wide? Oh, turns around just the wrong moment. There we go, just like that. Missing the opportunity to get the drop on AVANGAR. And two of the opening frags go to the T's, and now they don't really stand too much of a chance of actually retaking this at all. So the investment on the side of forZe not making any sort of a dent. I think this was where forZe would have been so much better off instead of having that weird investment where some of the players go too deep into their pockets to get SMGs and whatnot, to just have all the utility, full weaponry, and so on.
Oh. Flit is just letting him walk away. He wants this kill. He might just get more than one as well. There's the chance, there's the UMP, but the range is just too unfortunate. Well, Sanji picking up that last one. 5 in a row from AVANGAR. So the back and forth we had that has been established, as soon as it ended, it's just been AVANGAR with every single round win.
Yeah, it really has. And I think forZe are partly to blame for that with the investments that they have made for themselves, but got to give credit for AVANGAR because, as you said, with how much back and forth there's been, it's very easy to, well, play scared, pretty much.
Yeah.
And playing scared, you, funnily enough, make more mistakes than what you would have if you just played with your normal confidence. You're not going to throw the nades, you forget about things, you get flustered, or you're
indecisive.
Exactly.
As well.
That's the biggest issue, right? So instead of thinking, should I throw the Molotov, but what if a guy comes storming at me when I pull up my nade? Like, what do I do then? Do I just, okay, so I'm just going to hold my weapon up the entire time, and because of that, somebody sneaks through in the spot where you would have had nades otherwise. But yeah, AVANGAR been able to stabilize, and they're going to be perfectly fine for the rest of the half. 2 rounds left. Now just looking to see if they can actually win out the half. It'd be a nice change after seeing kind of rough treatment they got on Inferno, to say the very least.
I mean, like you said, it's not a poor map for AVANGAR. You know, they can still compete on it. And if they somehow walk away with this, Dust 2 is a map they can play as well. So
that is definitely true. We've seen James do some absolutely disgusting stuff on Dust 2.
Yeah, so if you're kind of like a neutral and you don't really care who wins, obviously you'd want it to go to a third map just for an entertaining game of Counter-Strike. So
absolutely. CIS teams in general are pretty damn fun to watch on Dust 2.
Yeah.
Even though we talked about how forZe necessarily aren't the atypical CIS team in terms of aggression and how they play, but they have that in them. And if a map like Dust 2 comes out, that is definitely gonna be in play.
Yeah, it's almost like it's got the typical CIS play in it, but it's also a little bit more mature in the way that it's developed. But run boost towards middle. Z-Power has been dropped to 16 HP early. Well, that would have been quite nuts, but unfortunately it does not result in a kill. It does result in damage.
Kicker with his usual just step up from A-Pit. There's quite a bit in the last Invitational as well. There's no nades, no flashes, no nothing. It's just going off of contact to see what he can find, and a fair bit of the time he does actually find a lot of frags as well. So the execute comes in, but there's still 3 men solid here on the site. Jerry forced up. Oh, nice flashes though. Buster's gonna run out of bullets.
Well, back and forth they go this time. It's forward to the advantage, but the trade comes in again. FizzCrack will walk in with more, but Jim there with the trade. We're back into a 2v2. And with 45 seconds left on the clock, the ball making its way away from ramp, back over towards T-spawn. They have got a player just outside of the connector. One in B on the CT side and one over towards A. So, look, you're literally as far away as possible as you could be.
If Sanji doesn't make a move from connector, all of this is going to come down to timing whether or not Flit gets the drop on Jame or not. That is really what it all comes down to.
Because Z-Power, there's no way he gets there on time if Flit drops, so...
Oh, the timing is going to be so nasty.
Oh. Well, Jim does get the kill on towards Flit. Bomb plant starts to come through him while Z-Power, he's literally nowhere to be seen. It's probably best to save on to this op. Moving into the next one, it's going to be 8-6. AVANGAR will lead on the half. And forZe have to try and pull it back.
Yep.
It was looking pretty good for forZe, I have to say, though.
I mean, they were 6-3 up, right? They were having a good time. They were winning all this back and forth that we were seeing. So at that point, it didn't really come to... well, it didn't come to matter, really, the fact that, yes, it's more expensive to be on the CT side because they kept winning out these rounds. They kept coming back into it. But as you said, once the, I guess, economic game of chicken was won by AVANGAR, it's been all about them for the remainder of the second and now first half. Looking at the scoreboard, you can see Kicker doing a hell of a lot for his side. 16-9, his current stat. FaceCrack over on the side of forZe, also doing pretty well for himself. Followed by both of the oppers on the respective teams. Z-Power and Jame, both at 10. Final round, not the perfect buy on the side of forZe in this scenario, and everything you can want and wish for on the side of AVANGAR. Back to underpass aggression we go. This time, Z-Power actually misses the tiny pixel. So good at hitting that up from catwalk. Different angle. Have to go up instead of down. It's not giving that the kill.
Yeah, generally that's where we see Z-Power pick up those kills more often than not. So you kind of assume that, okay, here's a kill for Z-Power, but unable to capitalize on the opportunity. And unfortunately, that will keep it a 5v5.
I guess information gained, if you want to look at it at a positive light. But that's not going to be reliable for too long. Pretty forward position from FaceCrack up in top mid. Sitting with his back turned as well, just waiting for any sort of flash into mid. Can always be really, it's such a bad feeling when it's the one time they decide to just walk out instead of flash into it. You sit there with your back turned, like, well, this is fine. Mazur, you might not be fine.
Well, the flash and Molotov do come in, but he goes for the peek and he's got the kill, nearly the follow-up. And elsewhere, Z-Power was the first man to pick up a kill, so it's still looking good for the CT side as Z-Power holds from short. He's got that kill added to his collection, but Jame is still up in the apartments. He's dropped. He's looking for the pick on towards Z-Power, who's gone. He's left short. He's not going to be going for that aggressive peek anymore. They've got the two-man advantage to let AVANGAR come into the bomb site. Jerry close by. There's the pick from Jim. It's a 2v3.
Oh, there we go.
That could have been very bad.
Could have been so bad. Could have ended up being a double in the opposite direction. Well, everybody took damage there, Flit and Z-Power. So get away with a bit of a scare there. AVANGAR not going to be able to get their 9th, but 8 rounds on the T set of Mirage, you're perfectly happy with that, considering how everything started.
Yeah, exactly. Could have been absolutely horrible, but forZe, you know, they got the start they wanted. They just kind of let it slip. And, well, at least they've got 7 on the board. The T side is generally where they've done most of their work.
Yeah.
So if they can continue to have that performance as they move into the T side that we've seen already on Inferno today, then it should be enough to take them over the line.
Yeah, I'd definitely agree with that. One thing that is a bit of a worry, as you can see, bottom of the scoreboard, Almazar, fair enough, playing on the opposite side of the action a fair few times, but 4 kills is not the usual form we see out of him as we see the updated option GG.Bet. This time, AVANGAR actually being favored as we get going with the second half.
Yeah, they have shifted, but it's going to be a fast play in towards the B-bomb site. forZe love to do this. They love to change the pace, and they run right in towards the site. Not a single kill yet. Eventually, it will come through. It's Almazar taking away Buster as Kicker looks for the pickup. He's got the headshot, looking for 2, but it's not going to happen for him. Instead, it's Flit who steps in with 2 himself, and Almazar will follow that up. It's on Sanji in a 1v4.
That was so aggressive from forZe.
It's just like
relentless.
Yeah. Put the pedal to the metal and just go.
Worked out, even though it was looking a little bit iffy at times there. FaceCrack, I think, used an entire clip, or I guess magazine, otherwise people are going to get angry. Yeah, an entire magazine of his Glock, and eventually started diving the smoke with a knife before Buster died.
People always find something to get angry about, don't they?
Yeah, that's...
It's like they get angry if there's nothing to be angry about.
Clip, magazine, bullets, what have you.
I mean, if you're a Vanguard, you got to be angry about that, though. That was just a straight-up rush B strat that just came in, and it was at least everybody committed to it, and that's how potent that rush B can be if people actually fully commit.
100%. And again, it's always going to be better to have 5 people committing to a bad idea than having 20% committing to a good one.
Yeah.
Because as good as it might be in theory, it's not going to pan out unless everyone's on the same page.
You just kind of trust the call.
More of the same, I guess. And they're going to run into a bit of a stack here on the side of AVANGAR.
Well, they dealt with this well on Inferno. It's time to just ramp up the pace, ramp up the confidence on this T side as all the kills coming through. Eventually, Kicker will step in.
But he's running out of bullets.
Yeah, there's so many bullets fired that everyone ran out of them. So
didn't stop them from holding in W, though. Gotta give him credit for that.
No, even when they're reloading, they're still charging forward.
Yeah. They just want to get to real weapons as quickly as possible, and they're going to upgrade as well all across the board on the side of forZe. It's also going to be the buy coming in from AVANGAR. Kicker currently possessing that off. He's going to drop that over to James. There we go. So he's actually going to rock this round without Kevlar at all. That's commitment. Let's tell you how much they trust James. And it's paid off. It paid off on Inferno as well for one saved round, but they're going to need to do it now to prevent forZe from extending their lead.
forZe look to try and hit double figures. I really like the change in pace though from forZe on this T side. They want to just say, coming out of that sort of weaker affair towards the end of the first half, they're going to straight away charge in, show us what they're made of, and well, good start for Jim into this one. AVANGAR have the early pick. Zepar on the spot flashes in. It's Adren picking that one up. Adren will fall away safely as well. Two-man advantage for AVANGAR.
Adren making it out. Just a little bit of chip damage done. Bomb's gonna go down. Oh, Kicker really wanted to deny that bomb plant.
Oh no. Oh no. Why is it falling apart like this? forZe, they've just made it happen. Sanji and Adren left in a 2v3. Adren is on 10 HP, and at this point, all they have is to save because forZe somehow come out on top. I think Kicker really trying to give away his life too easily.
He kind of dropped the ball. You're already at an advantage with just manpower, having found the initial frags onto. I don't remember who it was who died. It might have been Almazar at the James there as they ran up A pit. And with Adren getting tagged down as well, after picking up a kill, there's no reason for you to run in. You know that Adren is probably, you would hope at least, communicated that he wants to reposition because he's on 10 HP. He doesn't want to run through a smoke, that kind of thing. So if you want to have tempo with it,
You need to, again, you need to be on the same page. It might be a good idea to try to deny the bomb plant if you have multiple people going for it, if it's a pincer movement from the side of the CTs, but if it's not, then it becomes very quickly a bad idea.
It becomes like a one-man army. You kind of, you hear the bomb, but you don't really know what's on the other end of the smoke, so you just commit to it.
Yeah, and all you find is a waiting flit. He's not going to let you live. They do hold on to the op, though. Yeah. Or no, they didn't actually. Is that dropped?
I'm pretty sure Dren saved it.
Okay, yeah, so he did pick it up, yeah. Because James did die. Well done. Again, in a situation where a lot of this rides on James, and he was good for one opening frag for AVANGAR in that last round. Kicker just got a little bit too ahead of himself.
Full A commit. All 5 players here for forZe charging in towards the A bomb site. They've got no lurk. They're just going straight into it. And well, they haven't ran out of ramp just yet. Kicker is just waiting on the other end of it. He's hoping they come through. And there's the flashbang. Eventually they will come through, but it's FaceCrack living up to his name as Adren and James step in with 2 though. It's the man advantage for the CT side.
James takes a lot of damage, but manages to get around the corner. Still though, it's Adren wreaking havoc.
The smokes are gone.
All of them. So are most of the manpower. Z-Power's gonna miss on the swing. James not.
That was easy for AVANGAR there.
Very easy. And again, you see the same exploit, I guess, not even an exploit, but obviously same gap, I guess, in the smoke over towards jungle being abused. Once you get to that bench, you get pretty much free reign of people. You're also in pretty decent cover from anyone playing around Tetris or that kind of thing. Nets them a kill. Easy going for Adren there with a follow-up from James as well. Make it happen and bring it right back. So forZe not being able to string rounds together. Also does a number on their economy, even if they are on the T side. Double ops coming out from the CTs. Buster being the one to carry it over towards the B-bomb site.
Well, Kicker sits back in towards CT. Multiple players on it. Hits towards the position. He'll start to spray away. Only gets the one. No way this is happening. forZe have got the bomb plant. They've got the man advantage. And they've got a rifle to play with as well.
And retake with 2 ops.
This is not looking good for AVANGAR. Oh my god, this is unbelievable. Buster is alone, 1v4. And yeah, AVANGAR, if that, you just shut up shop at that point. There's no way you recover from that. That is just unbelievable. forZe just rush in the A-bomb site. Oh, wow.
I was, yeah, catching AVANGAR with their pants down.
I think sort of AVANGAR probably sat back and were like, oh yeah, that was easy. That should be enough to shut them up for a bit.
Yeah, just keep them quiet. It's probably going to simmer down. Tempo is going to get slowed. They're going to have to think through things, you know. Maybe
so
take a timeout.
Yeah. So they sit back and like, so we've rushed B twice. We went A once. What do you want to do?
We kind of have to balance. Yeah, kind of have to balance things, right? And just like that, forZe right back into it. And they pick up so many weapons. They stay alive with so many people. Buster's going to have to give up his op. Goes back into the hands of Jane. Now let's see if forZe can get the round back in their hands. Meta-aggression coming up from AVANGAR. That's completely vacated area, so if nothing else, AVANGAR pick up a lot of vital information here, and they can actually push up off of this unless they're going to stay down in the mid-slope. Dren once more, finding an opening kill. Been putting in work over towards that A-bomb site. Didn't really make himself into a too prominent figure on the T side, but better late than never. Smokes come out again. We'll see what kind of rotation this actually causes from AVANGAR's side. There's no commitment. So AVANGAR not going to fall for it. Haven't really rotated more people over. Now the actual push comes in towards B. Still, rotation times are a bit away. Oh, Sanji needs to do a lot of work with the MP9 here.
Well, Sanji sits back and, well, they're putting so much pressure on him. He's just hiding, biding his time, waiting for his teammates to try and get in to help him. Well, Kicker has done that. He's got 1 kill. Jim will also assist. Man advantage doubled here in AVANGAR. And again, it's back and forth. Jerry on his own in the apartments. Yeah, if you're a Mazer, you just do not expect Adren to be sitting on the box under Palace.
You're slightly pissed at that point. Oh, bomb never making it down. AVANGAR managed to hold on, and that was looking not too great. Sanji going down as the bomb defender. Quick rotation, or the first rotation coming in from Catwalk is smoked off. Everything's really in place for forZe to get a round off of that.
Also, pretty interesting to see AVANGAR, a team that's had, I guess, a weakness for over-rotating. We saw that even on Inferno. Pretty hefty over-rotations off of very limited information coming through. This time, they were stone cold.
The problem is here for forZe is when they get the rifles in their hands, they're not as good.
Yeah, they just need to stick to pistols, apparently.
Yeah, just stick to the very basic rushes and just have P250s. Seems like the teamwork is just better when they have those.
It's an innate synergy. Just knowing where to run. They do have weapons this time around for the better part of it. Almazar is the only one without a rifle to his name. He's got plenty of utility, though. We've seen a fair few of these exact executes coming out on the side of forZe earlier with not really too much success.
It seems to be changed up a little bit where they've just thrown the stairs and jungle smoke. They're going to try and isolate Kicker on his own a little bit. CT has been a big problem for them when it comes to these executes. We've seen Jame play from that position. They just haven't really been able to deal with it.
Now they're going to do a double fake. So it's pretty much same round as earlier, just with an additional fake into it. And with Buster finding the first kill, that's going to be pretty much an answer that they don't need to rotate. But you actually see Jame actually being out of position because of it.
Yeah, they kind of looked like they had it sussed, but in the final few seconds they eventually rotate. But again, it's kind of indecisive here from forZe. I feel like it's a little bit too overcomplicated for them at times, but Zepar has stepped in and he's got himself 2 kills collected. It's going to be the man advantage here on the CT side. But Zepar is still alive, it's still recoverable, as he'll go for the bomb. He goes and gets it and falls back inside the bomb side, taking pressure, taking shots, but still committing to it. And I has Flit to play with as well. His teammate can assist him as the flash will come around the corner. Zepar finds another. It's all on the Flit. 1v2 as the bomb is planted for him in connector.
They do have a smoke on the side of the CTs, though. It's going to go down as well. Limited angle, though, for someone to defuse in. Oh, actually, they've messed up their smoke completely. What?
Yeah. Okay, then. They're not even going to go for it. That is going to be the peak. Buster will win it. And forZe again come close, but not enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Not really any answers for that smoke. You could either throw it on the bomb or, which again, not going to be the most difficult task for the last remaining forZe players to figure out because of the limited angle they can defuse from. But still, that's better than what they ended up doing. And if not, then you throw close smoke for connector at the very least. But it works out. 11-11 and GG.Bet favoring AVANGAR once again.
Quite a lot, actually. Like, quite a lot in comparison to the start of this game.
How much back and forth we've seen as well. I mean, it very much feels like it could be anybody's game, but right now, it is true. AVANGAR with the advantage here. Fully bought up. Not the same can be said for forZe here. Got a couple of pistols, a little bit of utility, but as we've kind of alluded to, they haven't really been able to do much of anything with their executes. When they've been doing stuff with pistols, at least they've had the pace with them, so they've been able to get the drop on a fair few of the AVANGAR defenders. For the time being, it's kind of what they have to rely on as well.
Execute comes in towards the A-bomb site, swing for stairs, one for the crossing connector, and well, under wood is where Adrem will lie, and he will take himself a kill, looking for the follow-up, but it's face crack, who's got the kill onto his teammate. Adrem pulls out the pistol, and that's obviously the better weapon to use for him. 2 picked up on the USP, it's 3 overall, and Zepar, the last man standing, has been found as well, and that's 3 in a row from the Vanguard. They'll go into the lead.
Into the lead they go, and Kicker making his way to 24 frags. I feel like Adrem has also had pretty damn significant impact here on the CT side. He was such a non-factor on the first half. Now really getting into his own. Doesn't really matter what weapon he has in his hands, apparently. For forZe, they're running a bit out of time here. They're not going to have a lot of utility here either. 3 smokes, 4 flashes with their buy. So they're going to venture into mid for the first time in quite a while. We've seen Jame already over to the right side.
They should know there's a possibility he's already in the ladder room. How do they deal with this? They don't even check it. That's the call. It seems as Flit just walks on by. Will be the trade from Jerry coming in. But at least they know 100% where James' last whereabouts were.
Soothing for the soul, but that information is not going to be viable for too much longer. That's the problem. You can already see James repositioning over towards kitchen. You also have Sanji pushing aggressively in towards B-Apps. So early warning systems in place. Right now, it's not the strongest of defense over towards A, but as you said, that CT spawn position where Kicker finds himself right now has been pretty potent.
Oh, that's a good pick to find if you're Z-Part. Buster's got to hide below the wood. Jim coming back in from CT to recover, but there's Buster with one. That's a big player to lose as well. Z-Power hitting the deck. Jim here with the AWP. Bomb plant coming in. He's just desperately looking for this pick. Some sort of pixel to show and pull it back into a 2v2, but it will not happen.
FaceCrack's also in a really, really strong position down the connector. Oh, just while he's midair.
That timing, so unlucky for Jim, but very lucky from Izer.
Yeah, he's going to think he's lucky stars without really knowing it. Smokes go out. Now we'll see if FaceCrack's going to be the first to pounce through.
This should be impossible to lose if you're on the forward side. There's the kill from Izer. Jerry able to pick it up, and it's 12-12. Again, this back and forth keeps continuing.
And apparently less is more. If you're Force, that was a very...
It feels like when it feels like on the T side, they've overcomplicated a lot of things. It feels like when they have very simple calls, that's when everybody does their job well. When they try to go for the double fix, it seems a little bit more disjointed and confusing.
Yeah, especially because the fakes are not strong enough to actually sell any sort of rotation. In both cases where we've seen fakes attempted, AVANGAR stood still, completely still. Not even an inch was moved. Oh.
All right.
That's an inch too much to give to James. Z-Power goes down, so one of the heavy hitters on the side of force taking the early fall. Let's see if he can get lucky with the connection. Oh, Buster, that's a bad miss. Oh, you've lost your teammate as well. Sanji down. Oh, no. That has quickly gotten out of control. James is in position, though, to potentially find a frag, but he's going to have to reposition with the Molotov coming down and just barely missing out on Jerry.
Well, Jim still alive, still kicking.
Is he going to go for this, though? 4v3? Well, I say that. 3v3. Adren finds FaceCrack in mid.
They've already committed to the save, it seems already, though.
Yeah, they don't have a defuse kit, actually, because they had to spend all their money on utility. Probably didn't expect the bomb site to fall that quickly over towards B. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but a much-needed one. Again, we've seen what kind of impact James can have with a weapon. And to be fair, it's 3 impact players on the side of AVANGAR right now who are staying alive. James, Kicker, Adren here on the CT side have been doing most of the heavy lifting. So definitely more of a fight to put up for AVANGAR if they're able to hold on to it.
So forZe back into the lead, but that's not really... it's not enough to be comfortable just yet. We've kind of seen already teams take the lead and then they just let it go again.
Yeah. Absolutely, especially because forZe are in a situation where they haven't won rounds cleanly necessarily either. They don't have loss bonus anymore that's going to stack up for too long. So the fact that Almazar is on 500, FaceCrack at 1150, that means that whatever buy you have coming into this, buying a bomb plant, it's not going to be so, well, it's not going to be super good. Early nades being exchanged towards B. Forces Kicker to keep an eye on that. We'll see, though, if forZe is set up in a similar position, a little bit further back here towards B-Apps, though, than what they were previously when they've attempted a similar execute as this. But they might just come to the realization that, yeah, less is more. As you said, the less complicated they've done it, the better. Right now, they just want to use the initial nades to see if they get any sort of response from AVANGAR. Bait out as much utility as possible. But once again, AVANGAR are just not biting. To be fair, they don't really have too many Molotovs to throw back either, but seem completely uninterested.
Well, smoke execute coming in from forZe. Molotov this time.
Oh,
it's actually not going to reach. It goes into the smoke.
There we go.
It's completely got rid of, but follows up. FaceCrack clears under wood. There we go. That's exactly why you need that Molotov. They wanted to get aggressive, but they're forced away. And well, the jumping from Buster gives away his life. And that's the spray coming right through, but forZe are winning every fight as Jim and Sanji forced away. And 14-12 will be the scoreline we're looking at.
He looks to do as much damage as possible, and this is a scenario where you 100% go for the hunt. if you're forced in this scenario, yeah, you've lost one. Yeah, you're not going to be able to fully guarantee if you lose 4 players in this scenario, but it's so much more detrimental for AVANGAR to lose Jame with an AWP. You can see Flit is already on the move. A little bit surprised by the fact that we see both Almazer and Z-Power kind of hang out. Fair enough, Z-Power has an AWP, but I would have wanted them to see them being a little bit more aggressive, trying to find Jame here. Really only Flit making an actual effort for it. And this would be so typical if you see a round now where Jame just ends up getting 2 to 3 kills that swings everything in the favor of AVANGAR. Again, that's just the issue you run into when you have high caliber AWP players on the opposite side.
It's definitely more, you know, saving the AWP over, you're not going to be able to afford it. So definitely he already made his mind up quite some time ago. You wanted to get that AWP into the next run, and like you said, just have so much impact potential on the back of it that, you know, this is a run you would usually write off, but because of AVANGAR having the AWP still present, there's always a chance for them. Money's starting to build on forZe as well, so.
Oh, this is brazen by Jame. He's the sole defender on A. He's completely alone, and he's going to set up in an aggressive position. If he gets flashed off, if he needs to deal with a double peek, could just be the end of it. Just a spot for feet, not going to find anything as well. Same smokes as always go over for forZe.
Well, here goes Jame. Close angle, doesn't pick up the first kill and has to fall away. Now he's under pressure. forZe not really following up on it. They want to make sure everything is still going according to plan.
Yeah, the silliest thing they can do in this kind of scenario would be to chase after Jame, knowing how accurate he can be, especially when you have teammates about to get real close and personal.
Oh, well, that's one of the shots we're talking about. Jame able to pick it up. He's going to go for the boost. He's done this a few times already, and it's worked out perfectly for them. Although Adren spots Z-Power after he started rattling shots off. And there's a kill from Sanji. It's falling apart here. It's all on Flit. 1v5, and I really don't know what just happened there for forZe. They have everything going for them. Better weapons, they have the A execute, the bomb plant goes down, and they don't get a single kill.
Yeah, and it wasn't even close. That was the worst part about it. They get to the bomb site pretty freely. And it's not like AVANGAR are in a position where they have tons of utility to set up for a retake either. Just getting picked apart. Adren doing a good job from Catwalk there. Catching people looking in the wrong direction. But there you see it, Jame being able to find 2 frags. Even though the second one is the finalizer and a 1v5, sure, that maybe not matter as much. But the first kill he picks up, it's massive. Just strafing off into the bomb site, getting a kill, ducking out. And there's no way he would have been able to do that with any other gun. Or I don't think he would have, like, he doesn't have the play slots to do it with an AK necessarily.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be Jame looking for another. Of course he gets that, jumping off the top of the ladder. How many times are you going to see them die from that position, though? forZe just never check it. What's wrong with just looking in there to make sure there's someone in that position? Buster this time able to connect. He missed a few shots on B earlier, but landing shots this time in forZe, well, they're getting absolutely wrecked at the minute.
Not a lot to say about that one, but yeah, Jame getting away with a couple of freebies, making sure he's on the ground this time.
Yeah.
Had a bit of a unfortunate happening over towards Ticket earlier on in the game. Solidifying that kill and also strengthening forZe, well, AVANGAR's position in this one. 14 to 14, and it's not a pretty investment on the side of forZe. They're actually going for overtime at this point.
This is ridiculous, considering the opportunities forZe have had. This, I mean, it's their fault for not winning it, really.
They've won both pistols.
Yeah, and also they've had so many chances to even bring it to map point. So, AVANGAR, props to them, stepping up when it matters most. And Buster on this double op setup, you know, it didn't work the first time, but it did the second. Missed shot this time though, and that might just give forZe an opportunity as they start to come in with the pistols. We've seen success in the pistols so far, and they've got the first kill. Second coming in as well. Adren has fallen, and forZe look to hit map point off the back of pistols. It's Kicker there with an AK, but Jerry steps up, and the B rush, it seems to be the best strategy here for forZe. Jame has no other option but to save this op, and forZe will get to map point. And this is ridiculous. Everything was looking good for AVANGAR, but it's all down the drain.
When in doubt, rush B. Oh, and Buster having a bit of a nightmare there, missing 2 crucial shots. 2 shots he should be hitting as well. And it gets the B bomb site actually being abused. It's the second time we've seen it here on the T side, and forZe haven't had too much success on it in normal rounds, and I guess we can't really call that a normal one either. It's with pistols. And this time they actually go hunting. This is the kind of aggression I wanted to see out of them in the previous round where James saved. Because now James is in a position because they've won 2 rounds cleanly just in a row. He's gonna have no problem reinvesting into an op. And that would be a dream scenario for you, obviously, to have to go up against a force buying AVANGAR that doesn't have an op on James. That's a recipe for success. But now they don't have that luxury for them. I guess the upside is, obviously, they're on map point. They're on series point. But again,
they haven't really been able to string many together, though, and that's the biggest problem here for forZe. They need to do that. They need to get 2 in a row here, and it's going to be a double up setup this time. Kicker using it instead of Buster, and Buster's gone aggressive. He's better on the rifle, and he's definitely showing that here.
The flash was so good as well, though. You could just see how that would spiral out of control if FaZe Crack is able to win out that duel versus Buster. Instead, everything grinds to a halt, and forZe needs to find another opening. This time, 2 heavy players sitting on the B bomb site. Last time, Buster was kind of, when that was SoundG was already halfway out kitchen when the execute came in from forZe. Luxury of having 1 man up. Oh, this could be a disaster for forZe right now. Flit, how patient are you going to be?
Well, it's either overtime in the next few seconds, or it's going to be forZe taking the win 2-0 in the series. The patience here from Flit is definitely not even going to matter. He's jumped off.
Didn't fall for it at the very least. Kicker aggressively with an op actually in 8-bit.
Very different, should we say.
Yeah, it's different. It's not something we've seen out of him too often. Actually, so are the changes to the plans that forZe. They're going to swing back to the B bomb site, and already Buster's gone down. SoundG needs to find multiple kills here.
He's got the first. Can he find a follow-up? That's the question on everybody's minds in a minute. He'll head towards the bench, and he's still alive. 15 seconds, they have to get the bomb in, and SoundG's doing so much work. He's done it all. Amazer will drop him, but he has to get the bomb plant in there, but to try and get back into the bomb site, but Z-Powers find that 2v2. Trying to hold on to the bomb site. And while Z-Powers spots 1 player cross over to the kitchen, he only knows he's close to the door. They're both in there, though, and they don't have that info.
They're completely in the blind. 1 player already made it onto the site.
No. He goes for the 1 bullet. It's the 1 tap, the headshot, and Z-Power cannot pull it off. It's going to be overtime. We keep going forward in AVANGAR. They will not give up.
They won't. Even when it's looking very, very bleak. That B bomb site being harassed once again, but retake coming in there. Beautifully done, and you can see the scoreboard reflecting in kind of the heavy hitters on the side of AVANGAR here for the CT side. Kicker, James, sitting at 25, and Dren actually making his way up to 19 with how rough of a T side he had. Definitely deciding factors here in this one to get to the stage we're currently at. Well,
it is 10K overtime, though.
Yeah, so both teams are actually going to... Is that a detriment for forZe?
Yeah.
Is that how we're looking at it?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, obviously it means that James is going to be able to get his hands on an op. They could go to double ops. That's really dicey with 10K overtime.
They've been playing with double ops quite a bit, right? So, you know, if you pick it up, you lose the first one. That screws your economy for the rest of the half, really.
I think you're better off just going with a solo op on James. That also allows enough money to be on the rest of your team to potentially drop a second op for the next round if you were to lose.
I mean, it's not really like the other ops have been doing anything anyway, so...
Yeah, Buster's had 1 round where he's had impact, and the other rounds it's been, well, the complete opposite. It's actually been a detriment to their side.
Massively, yeah. It's given forZe 2-round wins. That's really even got them here.
Yeah. So for AVANGAR, name of the game is to win the first round here on the CT side and MR3 10K. Otherwise, you're looking at a pretty dicey economy for forZe. Well, they just need to find weapon rounds. They're going to go sudden here off of this. SoundG alone on the B bomb site.
SoundG does sit back inside of the B bomb site itself. Z-Power has picked up Buster, and the rest of the troop are starting to come on in as SoundG will head towards the back of the smoke. You'll look up, Jerry spotted. Follow coming in from SoundG as well. Doing such a great job. Eventually has been finished off by Z-Power. The bomb plant coming through as Kicker's trying to hide. He knows smokes. They're not things forZe really care about too much. So I'll go behind something solid. Trying to move back to the bomb side as Almirza will take the headshot. It's on to Jam and Adren.
And you would imagine, actually, if they can't find anything immediately, they have to hold on to that op on Jam. Spotted out. Oh, legged up as well. He needs to get away, and he doesn't. And now, the really big task comes in for AVANGAR here. Most likely, you'll see Jam drop a Colt for one of his teammates. They drop him an op. He goes with light Kevlar, no utility. We see the Colt being thrown out. He gets the op from Buster, I think. Oh, not Buster, but one of his teammates. And they're actually gonna, they're gonna opt in for double ops here. This kid,
super risky.
Yeah, and I mean, at this stage, because of how much money they've spent, even if they were to win this one, they might be screwed for the last round, depending on how many players stay alive, and obviously how many ops they're able to bring into the next one. It's the same approach as last time. This time, though, 2 players on the B bomb site. Oh, Sanji can't get the nade out.
Oh my god, this is just sheer aggression, but Buster's got 2 kills in the rifle. Buster eventually has been finished off, and it's into a 3v3.
And look at how far away they are. They're actually just... Are they going to go for this? They grouped up immediately, but...
Surely they save.
It's double retake. They said retake with double ops. You have 1 kid on Adren.
It's like they
this
love
is so
the
desperate.
risk.
This is so desperate.
They just love the risky playstyle. It's not going to work for them. Jerry's going to peek. Surely he finds at least one here. Indeed he will. Adren will trade back, but still...
Rare miss.
Very, very difficult times ahead. As Zepar, he will be missing shots and actually gets caught by Kicker, so it's a 1v2. Flit will sit back at the bomb site. The tap comes in. There's the first kill. Looking for Adren, but he's on the bomb again. There's a smoke on that. You have to spray. And there it is. Flit picks it up, and it's 17-15. Chaos on the B bomb site.
Very much so. It's a hopeful retake from AVANGAR in the first place. Z-Power uncharacteristically misses 2 shots and then jumps across. I'm not sure why he wanted to change his position so badly. It confused the hell out of me because he becomes an open target, and instead of being in a position where he was completely covered. And again, at that stage, you have to imagine that AVANGAR pressed for time, double ops setups, probably not a whole lot of kits going out there. He might not even have one. Oof.
Look at this buy from the CT side.
Can you really call it a buy?
It's like they've went to a yard sale and just picked everything.
Yeah. And once again, the B-bomb side is left to Sanji alone.
Same position as every time, and this time he won't get a single kill. Fierce Crack will drop him, and forZe, they have the bomb site about to hit map point, series point, as it's just been the overtime show for forZe. Molotovs come in, and we'll be locking AVANGAR out of the bomb site.
And this is forZe recognizing the weakness from the regulation. Every time they went B, they found something that they can work off of in the previous rounds, and all 3 rounds here on the T side in OT have been towards B. And it's been the same execute every single time.
Yeah, and the exact same positions held as well from AVANGAR, so as soon as you kind of get the blame from these positions, it's pretty easy to take the kills.
Absolutely, and it's so tough to retake that side if there's a man advantage for the Ts. So, perfect. Perfect Counter-Strike for forZe, recognizing the weakness of your opponent, abusing it to no end, and as you said on Inferno, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that's really what rang true for forZe there. So now we're going to need to see a perfect T side coming out from AVANGAR, and that feels like a tall order.
Yes, forZe only need 1 round out of the next of this entire half. So surely, on paper, you'd expect them to get it done, but stranger things do happen. And while AVANGAR, they're going to be setting themselves out towards middle, where Buster's got the first kill. Flit able to trade right back, and it will be a 4v4.
They do take a fair bit of damage, but the timing is uncanny for Z-Power there. 3v4. Trent's made it up through connector, so might be able to work off of that.
Oh no! How have you not got that kill? Adren, that was a sitter, and Jerry's going to drop him. That might just cost him this game. Well, their chances at this round at least, and there it is. Jerry will take away Kicker at Sanji on his own into a 1v3. 1 minute, 5 seconds for him to make a play to get them back into this. It's just not looking likely whatsoever, especially not having the bomb.
I guess one benefit is Flit has no backup. Oh, well, down he goes. At least information gained as to where he is, and they do still have, well, I was about to say players on both bomb sites, but Jerry's actually just bailed out. Not going to matter, though. Almazer closes it out with positioning on Catwalk. So in the end, it's labored. It's a lot more of a closer contest than what we saw in Inferno, but in the end, forZe do close it out to make it a 2-0.
Exactly, and again, forZe continuing their success here at the Invitationals. They did this exact process at the last one. You know, they just straight away win their first best of 1 and then win the best of 3 winners matchup in a 2-0 fashion, and they find themselves moving on again.
Same procedure as every year.
It's like rinse and repeat. Let's do it again.
Yeah, and I mean, if it's anything to take, you know, from history, that's a pretty good sign for forZe. They've ended up in both the finals in the 2 previous Invitationals. Lost to Liquid for Cologne in a crazy best of 3 series that went all the way, well, nearly to overtime. Unfortunately, we had a disconnect on Al-Mazr in that one at 15-13. But also, you know, next time they follow that up with a win versus Heroic in the Chicago Invitational. So things are looking pretty good for the Russian guys.
Exactly, and again, they're showing this consistent. It's not just a one-time thing. You know, they don't just show up for a game and then suddenly they drop off the face of the earth. They turn up for every tournament they play in. Yeah. And they've also shown they can play on LAN. So the future is definitely bright for this team.
Absolutely. And for AVANGAR, I think we got to see a much better showing of them on Mirage. Inferno let us a little bit, you know, flat and left us wanting, to put it that way. So for them to have a good showing, you know, even though they're going to be going into a best of 3 decider map later on in a couple of days, it's still a good sign. It's something to work off of, because we talked about that leading into Mirage, the fact that we haven't seen the honeymoon period, we haven't seen that gradual progress that we've seen out of so many teams when they make a roster change, especially when it's such a good player as Aden, right? What we saw out of Mirage from both sides, pretty decent. Bodes well for the rest of the tournament, I'd say.
Indeed, and I think, is there really anybody who's a big problem for forZe as we look at like a rival? I think Optic, Hugo mentioned them earlier, they could possibly be one of them, but again, we've seen Optic in the last Invitational, they didn't really look too solid.
I mean, they lost to forZe.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Again, it might be a case of, now we haven't seen too much Optic lately, so who knows what they've been working on. We know that MSL teams usually come about, if they get time on their hand, they usually come out of that looking pretty decent. Yep. So this might be their time to strike. And for them, that would obviously be a massive get to be able to qualify for Cologne. Because, I mean, we talk about them as Optic, but we know they're not a part of Optic anymore. They're still a team looking for a new organization. Landing a spot in New York, that's going to take you a long way of getting to that goal.
Indeed. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do. Tomorrow we've got another few games coming up, so make sure you join us then. It's been a pleasure being on the desk with Hugo and Halvor again today, and I hope you guys join us tomorrow at the exact same time for some more Counter-Strike.